This is Smarter San Diego TV.
Here is what they don't want you to know.
Owning a home is the cornerstone of any good financial plan or retirement strategy. I mean, that's the real reason we buy real estate.
You've got to be smarter if you want to be successful. That's what this show is for.
This is going to blow your mind. You're going to share this with everyone you know.
I guarantee to make you smarter than everyone else.
If you do nothing else in your lifetime to save for retirement other than own your home free and clear, you're going to be okay.
And now, here's your host, Derek Evans.
This is the place right here where we guarantee to make you smarter than everyone else. Today's show, jam-packed, per the usual, with fantastic guests, as we'll first speak with Tim Strombel from Cannabis. They're sort of the Forbes in the cannabis industry. He'll tell us everything we need to know.
Then we'll speak with Nicole Hazelton. She'll tell us where the best buy is in downtown San Diego, East Village. Then we'll speak with Siamak Karami, a successful businessman and good friend of mine who will tell us about a modern-day Holocaust taking place in China right now. Then we'll speak with Daniel Buksa and Dustin Trotter. They'll tell us all about the new Santee. Next we'll speak with John Lieber, who's here to tell us about the revitalization of La Mesa. And finally, we'll play a clip from the real estate debate so you can see how exciting, informing, and entertaining this show really is. It's all coming up next, right here on Smarter San Diego TV, where we guarantee to make you smarter than everyone else.
Our next guest is the media director for Cannabis. Here to tell us all about the green rush, my good buddy Tim Strombel is here. Tim, how you doing, man?
Awesome, man. How are you? Thanks
Great.
for having me, by the way.
Yes, thanks for coming. Everyone wants to know about this. How do I invest in this? What's going on? Colorado, all this. So first of all, tell us, what is Cannabis?
So Cannabis is a multimedia company. Really started as a digital publication, grew into multimedia, podcast, video, everything like that. And what it does is it really provides the blueprint to get into the cannabis space as an entrepreneur. So we cover entrepreneurs in a positive light to show people and to show the world that this industry is being run by a lot of people who are well-educated, well-funded, doctors, lawyers, real estate experts, all over, to kind of destigmatize the cannabis industry.
Okay, so you think that the stigma out there is that it's all a bunch of Rastafarians, walking around with blunts on the street corner. But what you want to show is the business side. This is what's happening. There are real business people who are getting involved in this. It's become legal in Colorado now for what do you call it, personal use of cannabis. So what have you been doing? Tell us what the media director for Cannabis does. Who have you been talking to?
Oh, we've been talking to everyone from Gary Johnson, a two-term ex-governor of New Mexico, who actually left his spot in New Mexico to run for president in 2012, then started his own cannabis company, is now president of a cannabis company. We've talked with Tommy Chong, one of the biggest cannabis activists of all time, who's going through cancer treatments.
Tommy Chong?
Well, it's interesting with Tommy Chong.
From Cheech and Chong, right?
From Cheech and Chong,
okay.
Correct. And he's become a big advocate and almost like a Socrates to the industry, kind of getting the stigma away from him being like the stoner persona as well, and really becoming a businessman, talking a lot about his story. He's had cancer multiple times, and he's treated it with cancer or with cannabis, in addition to conventional treatment. And then just a number of high-profile CEOs, executives, and presidents of companies in the industry, some of which left Fortune 100 companies to start a company in the cannabis space because it's the next tech boom.
No kidding, right? Because that's a lot of what it is. It's manufacturing, and it's technology. There's all sorts of, I've looked up a bunch of stuff on this, and there's all sorts of technology companies that are involved in one way or another, whether it's through the medical side or through the recreational side. Really, really interesting stuff. So Colorado was sort of the guinea pig, right? That's the first state to really make this an industry, the cannabis industry. We're calling it the green rush. Hashtag green rush is what you're seeing if you want to look up cool stuff about it. Everyone's asking me, how do I invest in it? And not just, people that are our age, let's say, Gen X, Gen Y, millennials, not just those guys, but boomers are asking about it. Parents are asking about it. They're saying, I don't necessarily agree with this whole thing, but how do I invest in it? So you were in Colorado for a huge expo there. What can you take away from that? I haven't been there since this has all happened. Is everyone a pothead in Colorado now?
The interesting part about Colorado is everyone thought when it went legalized that it was just going to be stoners on the streets, Rastafarian culture, but you go there and it's just like downtown San Diego. It's like any other city. No one's smoking in public, anything like that. A couple of interesting facts about Colorado is because they legalized recreationally and medically, they've seen a huge boom in the residential and commercial real estate properties. Everyone's moving out out there starting businesses. It's really brought in a lot of money into the economy. And another huge bonus of this legalization that people haven't considered is the tax ramifications. Now, when the law initially passed in Colorado, the measures in the law and how it was written said that a certain amount of taxes would go back into the schools. So of all the tax revenue they generate, 10% goes right back to the schools. So Colorado raised $100 million from cannabis tax. Okay, so that's 10.
Wow.
It was 30%, excuse me. 30% goes back to the schools. So $30 million went back into the schools.
Holy smokes.
Now what's even crazier is initially they capped that at 75 million. They raised 100. So the voters in Colorado passed another referendum to say, we don't want to get that money back. Put it back into the schools.
So they're just dumping cash into the schools.
The original referendum said anything over 75 goes right back to the residents of Colorado, like a refund almost.
Huh.
They stopped it. They said, no, we want this 25 mil going back into the schools.
Fantastic. Can you imagine if we ultimately fund our schools with the tax revenue from cannabis?
What's interesting...
I mean, it's just ironic, but at the same time,
yeah,
it's like poetic justice or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Now, you recently talked to you're interviewing the who's who. Mm-hmm. You talked to Kyle Turley recently on the podcast, right?
Yeah, we talked to Kyle Turley. He's a two-time All-Pro in the NFL, as a lot of people know. He didn't get into cannabis until his third year in the league, when actually a future Hall of Fame teammate of his, while in St. Louis, gave it to him when he was really dealing with a lot of physical issues, emotional issues. You talk about CTE and concussions being a huge problem in the NFL. Some thinking it's going to derail the NFL as a global conglomerate of a business. Kyle Turley used for half of his NFL career, and it allowed him to keep playing. He thinks cannabis, and medical cannabis especially, is going to save the NFL, and studies have shown that it has been productive in Alzheimer's treatments, suicide prevention treatments, and CTE, which is the disease associated with Alzheimer's. Junior Seau, we're local in San Diego, lost him to this disease that brought it to the forefront. Medicines like this and organic options really kind of give these athletes a chance at having a longer career, first of all, and then having a healthier life once they're past their career. Yeah,
because it's especially in the NFL, where it's not like baseball, it's somewhat low impact. It's a high impact game, and you've got head injuries that are happening over and over and over. We've also found in our research that a lot of patients who are either getting the substance, through legal means or not, who have seizures and other sorts of head disease and conditions, have been able to use liquid form, not necessarily smoking form, but there's other forms. It's not just smoking anymore. You can ingest it. There's pills you can take. There's candies that you can take and get the medicine into your body, and that's really helping a lot of people out there, including young children.
Well, the cool thing about Kyle Turley, too, is ever since he retired, he's had chronic knee pain, back pain, and social and mental issues associated with football in his career. When we talked to him last week on the podcast, he's now 6 months without taking any pain-killing drug. And all he does is medically cannabis.
Yeah.
And that's a lot. If you've ever played a sport and you've taken some ibuprofen, doesn't take any ibuprofen. So anyways, that's a way that it really helped him. Another big misconception in the industry, and to speak to what you just said, is the separation between CBD, hemp, and cannabis. A lot of companies are taking the THC away. And if you don't know what THC is, it's the part that gets your brain all relaxed.
Psychedelic.
The psychedelic,
aspect, right?
the psychotropic part of the brain of the medicine. A lot of companies are taking that out. Now, what you're basically left with is almost a multivitamin, an organic multivitamin that doesn't get you high, but provides all of these organics and medicines that stimulate neurological paths in your brain. It's blocking seizures, like I said, treating Alzheimer's, Crohn's disease, a myriad of things because of all the cannabinoid levels of molecules in these plants. It's amazing.
Yeah, that's crazy that's happening. So you've been talking to all these people. You've been sort of the industry insider, going around interviewing people, talking to the people who are running the biggest companies in the industry. Have you talked to anyone who's got their finger on the pulse of what's next for, let's say, California?
Yes, absolutely. We interviewed recently Dale Sky Jones. He's the executive chancellor at Oaksterdam University. People hear Oaksterdam and they're like, oh, it's a bunch of hippies talking about cannabis. That's not what it is. It's people that have left whatever industry they're in and they're going to get education as to exactly what it means to operate in the cannabis space, because it's the toughest, most regulated space in America to operate in.
Right.
What our show does is we give you that blueprint, and if you can operate successfully in the cannabis space as an entrepreneur or learn from those who do, you can operate in any industry overall. Now, Dale Sky Jones is the head of a number of different organizations in California, and she is actually the chairwoman of the actual writing of the bill that's expected to pass next November. And so what she did is they hosted forums and meetings up and down California, meeting with everyone inside, outside the industry. Do you have a concern? Are you an advocate or just a casual person who's watching? Okay, and her goal is to create a bill that's not perfect for anyone, but works for everyone, which is important because you talk about...
To legalize cannabis in California.
Yes.
That's the goal.
That's the goal. And there's a lot of other interests and parties that are going to be proposing legislation. Her group is the most comprehensive, well-funded, thoughtful, I guess I would say, bill that's going to be put out there. You know, it's written and developed from all these people inside and outside the industry who are thinking about these things. When it passes, what do we do to make it safe for kids?
Right.
What are the regulatory systems? What are the tax systems we need to put in place to make this a successful industry for everyone? Not one specific industry and not one specific business inside of it, but everyone as a whole.
Yeah, and that almost passed already. I mean, we voted on that here in California. What was it, 2012, I think?
There's been a couple of referendums.
And it was razor thin. I mean, it was like 52 to 48 or something like that against, which was crazy because we thought for sure, this is California, Colorado, but no, it didn't happen. So you think that's going to happen? I mean, is she confident based on all the people she's been talking to that that's the next wave?
It's not even just her, it's the nation. I mean, anyone who's in the industry or knows about the industry is expecting California to pass November 2016. It's really a double-sided coin that it hasn't passed before. You could say it's negative. I say it's positive because it's given them time to really think about all the different levels. You know, use Colorado, Washington, and Oregon as examples and guinea pigs of things that have worked, things that haven't, and pull into California.
When people say, okay, I see it, I get it, the boom, it's here. How do I invest in this? Or how do I even start to look and figure out what to invest in?
There's a number of different platforms. We recently interviewed Michael Berger. He's the president and CEO of Technical 420, to name drop that app. It's an app for your phone and computer that basically walks you through the cannabis field. What they do is they vet these companies. They're a third-party independent site. They vet the companies. They give strategic plans as to how to invest, and then go and check out their company and maybe invest in it. Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. This industry, it's so ground level that if you see something like that through the Cannabis website, just go ahead and call that guy or gal and say, hey, you're open for investors. Because it's at that point where something like that is actually possible still. Which is crazy given the projections for what this industry is going to bring in the way of economic stimulus to the state of California. Tim Strombel, thank you so much for being here today, man. Really appreciate your time.
Thank you for having me.
Great stuff. All right, Cannabis. That's if you want information about the cannabis industry, you got to check out Cannabis. Stick around for more Smarter San Diego TV, where we guarantee to make you smarter than everyone else, commercial free. Our next guest is a Smarter San Diego community connection with downtown San Diego, my favorite spot in all of San Diego. Nicole Hazelton is here. Nicole, how are you doing?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me.
It's great to have you here. Now we're going to talk about the best deal available in East Village right now in downtown.
Right now in downtown, the best deal available. It's not necessarily the lowest price property, but it's at The Mark, which is a 33-story luxury high-rise community that's flanked by townhomes. And it occupies the entire city block between Market and Island and 8th and 9th. And it is an incredible community. It has amazing amenities, pool, spa, fitness center, business center.
I love the Mark personally. I've never owned a place in the Mark or rented a place in the Mark, but I know lots of people who have. So it's really cool. So the best listing in East Village is at the Mark? I would have never guessed that.
It is at the Mark. It's on the 3rd floor, so it's Residence 301. It's listed by O'Connor Real Estate. It is a 900+ square foot, 1-bedroom, 1-bathroom. And what makes this property unique, it has a 528 square foot patio.
Wow.
So you have incredible outdoor living space. And we live in San Diego, so if you add that in, you factor that into the square footage, you're looking at almost 1,500 square feet of usable space.
Right.
And it's priced at $529,000. So
wow.
If you factor in the patio, you're not really taking into consideration the 500 plus per square foot. You're really in the 300 plus per square foot range.
Well, what floor is it on?
It's on the 3rd floor.
On the 3rd floor?
On the 3rd floor, floor to ceiling windows, super light and bright. The owners built a raised organic garden that conveys with the property. So the Mark has really contemporary finishes, clean lines, and it's a fabulous listing. I think it's the best deal.
Which direction does it face?
It actually faces west and southwest. So
Brilliant.
The patio looks, let's see, let's look at your,
it's on here somewhere.
It actually looks out towards the Harbor Club. So you see the two Harbor Club towers from your patio. It's a really beautiful cityscape, even though you're only on the 3rd floor. So you're paying 3rd floor pricing and getting a wonderful downtown view.
So it's a 1-bed, 1-bath at the Mark, 900+ square feet, almost a 500 square foot patio.
A 528 square foot patio.
528 square foot patio. Exterior views.
Yes.
$529 is the price.
$529 is the price.
That sounds like a steal to me. How long has it been on the market?
It's only been on the market for less than a week.
Yeah, someone's gonna have to jump on that one. If I'm a first-time buyer, I want to live in downtown. What building is the easiest one for me to get into?
Okay, there's a couple of different factors I look at when I'm looking at downtown communities. So litigation is a big one because you're going to have a bigger down payment requirement than most other buildings. Whether the building is FHA or VA approved, because when you're getting government financing, the building has to be on those lender approved lists, so depending on what your pre-approval looks like. And then I also take into consideration owner occupancy ratios, because if you're not 51% owner occupied, you're going to be pretty hard pressed to get a financing as an investor, and you will have to have a higher down payment, 20 to 25% down as a primary or a second home.
Okay.
So owner occupancy comes into play. Also, I look at what's the turnover ratio, how quickly are things selling, and what's the inventory look like? How long do owners typically live in that community, and what percentage of homeowners have positive equity, so that you know that if you're getting a price that you feel like is a good deal, the next day someone's not going to turn around and list a short sale.
Right.
Which, gone are the days of short sales, mostly in downtown. So when I look at all of those factors for East Village, it actually boils down to your favorite building, M2I.
Really?
It does. I think that M2I is probably the easiest building to purchase in now, because it is FHA approved, it's VA approved, it is not in litigation. It was built in 2005, so we're 10 years from the statute of limitation for litigation to occur.
So it's not going to happen then?
Probably not going to happen.
Wow.
The building is 54% owner occupied, so that's not going to be an issue. It has an 11% turnover ratio, so owners in the building stay there for about 5+ years. It's a great community to live in. And I believe the last time we pulled a title search, 79% of homeowners have positive equity within that community.
Wow. Yeah, I did live there for
Yes.
4+ years.
Yes.
And it was awesome, and I want to get back there at some point. It's also, what's really nice about M2I is that it was on the fringe of East Village, because you have the trolley coming through on the other side. So M2I was considered to be sort of East Village.
Right.
Now with all the construction and stuff that's happening in really East Village, actual East Village, M2I and Fahrenheit and all those buildings right there in the Mark are really very centrally located in East Village.
Absolutely, and M2I stands for Market to Island. So that building occupies the city block of Market to Island. You lived there for 4.5 years and you didn't know? They're not even paying me to say this. No, it's Market to Island, and it occupies the city blocks, as you know, between 10th and 11th. And it's not in really East Village anymore, because there's so much development happening to the east and to the south and to the north of it. And there are 230 units within that community. It's 7 stories, and what's nice about that, it's a mid-rise community. So value in downtown is very vertical. I mean, we price a 20th floor unit much differently than we price something on the 5th floor.
Totally.
So when you have a construction that's 7 stories, your values are going to be a lot more consistent. So the beautiful thing about M2I is prices over the past year, the sales were between $310,000 to $810,000. So there's something in every price point. There's something for everyone, whether you're looking for a 500 square foot loft or a 1,500 square foot loft. And it's such an industrial contemporary building, as you know, most of those units are just loft spaces.
Yeah.
So if you see something on the MLS and it's a 2-bedroom space, most of the time there's not delineated space for bedrooms.
Maybe one.
Maybe one. So you actually have a blank slate, a blank canvas to work with when you purchase within that community. And then the pricing will vary just if you're an interior facing unit or an exterior facing unit. The highest price sale in the past year was a 7th floor penthouse unit, floor to ceiling windows on a corner. So, with fabulous
what did that sell
orientation.
For? Just curious.
$810,000, just
Wow.
over 1,500 square feet.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's a great deal. What's happening out there in East Village?
So exciting. You can't go downtown without noticing some of the cranes that are putting up new construction. So
Yeah.
there's a lot of new hotels that are coming between the Gaslamp and the East Village. Obviously on 7th, the Ritz-Carlton is all the news right now. Pendry Hotel and the Idea District, which I think is going to be huge for the East Village. The developers are looking to develop over 35 square blocks of mixed-use spaces. So IDEA acronym stands for Innovation, Design, Education, and Arts. It will include a district called Makers Quarter. So the developers are looking to create these collaborative spaces to really encourage interaction between the occupants. So the very first building that they're constructing is called Idea 1, and it's 200 plus residential apartments. And then they'll build in collaborative working environments. And I just think these individualized brick and mortar office spaces will soon be a thing of the past, because the more and more people that we have that want to work from home or within their community will be working in these collaborative environments.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of that going on all over San Diego.
Yeah.
Great stuff, Nicole Hazel.
Yeah.
Thank you so much
Thank
for being
you.
here. Really
Thanks so
appreciate
much.
it. If you have questions about downtown real estate, you know who to call. Nicole Hazelton with Hazelton and Associates. Stick around for more Smarter San Diego TV, where we guarantee to make you smarter than everyone else, commercial free. Our next guest is a very good friend of mine. He's a successful CEO. He runs an IT company here in San Diego. He's also a very big human rights activist, and he told me something recently that I could not believe. I checked on it, couldn't believe the research I found, and I had to bring him here today to tell you about it. Please welcome Siamak Karami. Siamak, how you doing, sir?
Good, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I know you, so I know you really well, but I want you to tell the people who have never met you before, give a little bit of a background on you and kind of where you came from and how you got here.
So I actually grew up in Iran, in an Islamic country, until I was 17. And then I moved to Mexico City until I was 18 and a half. Like a year and a half I was there in Mexico City. And got a chance to see a different environment at that age. Being teenage, going from a non-drinking country to a drinking country. And then I came here to San Diego, went to USD, graduated from USD, and then went to China for a couple of years. And lived in China for a couple of years, built a company there, helped build a company there. And then I came back here and started another company. But San Diego is home now.
So San Diego's home. And you've been doing a lot of human rights activist work lately. And this is something that's come over the last 2 or 3 years. You told me about what's going on in China. Now, you lived in China, but you didn't know this was going on while you lived there, although I think you started to put the pieces together once you got back here and started learning. Well, tell us what's happening in China that no one knows about, the news isn't covering. Tell us what's going on over there.
This is really shocking, actually, to me. And as you were, when I heard about this, I was so shocked. I could not believe it. I was just wondering, this must be a lie. A lot of people might have heard this myth around organ harvesting. And most people think that it's not done by a government. It's always like these organ trades. Unfortunately, there's systematic organ harvesting going on in China right now. And it's done by the government to prisoners of conscience. And people think, oh, these are death row criminals that have killed someone. And this is actually prisoners that they're sitting in a labor camp in thousands, and they're getting tested. Their tissue type, their blood type is getting tested on a systematic, consistent basis. And when foreigners from here or rich Chinese people want to get a transplant done, they go to China. In a couple of weeks, they have access to these people. Unfortunately, these people get killed, and their organs are sold to those individuals. And it's all done through their hospital system.
So what's happening is, and you should look this up if you question it at all, look up the documentaries. We'll provide you some great links and some really good resources here shortly. But there are doctors who have come forward. There are people who are in these labor camps who have sent notes through toys that they are making in these labor camps. There are patients who have come forward and said, yeah, I was scheduled to do a heart transplant 2 weeks out. And other doctors have said, that's not possible. You can't schedule a heart transplant 2 weeks from now. How do you know you're going to have a good heart? Well, the only way you could possibly know that is if you were taking that heart from a live person. So when he says organ harvesting, what we're talking about is we're talking about people who are imprisoned in China. They're imprisoned by the government, and they are then have their organs stolen from them. They're killed, and those organs are then sold. So it's basically an organ business. And the numbers, if you look at how many organs are coming from China, you can see this extreme increase in the number of organs used in transplants that are coming from China.
Absolutely. So China is doing. China is has the second highest number of transplants, and it doesn't have an organ donation system. And the numbers just don't make any sense. And when the investigation started, actually, the investigation around this organ trafficking transplantation issue was done by two human rights lawyers. I don't know if you've heard their name, David Kilgore, and he was the former Secretary of State for the Canadian Parliament, and David Matas, a famous human rights lawyer for Amnesty International. They did the study in 2006. They found 52 counts of evidence that this is really happening. And ever since then, they've been going around different countries, and they're presenting their evidence, and they're convincing countries to ban organ tourism. So a lot of countries, and actually European Union Parliament has issued a motion to condemn this act.
But they won't admit that it's happening. And that's the problem.
Yeah, the Chinese government is still saying, initially they were saying this is not happening at all. Now they're saying these are death row prisoners, meaning that these people have killed others or they have conducted other crimes. That's where the Chinese government is standing.
So what actually happened, though, is the people that have been essentially kidnapped, imprisoned, are a specific type of person. In other words, they are of a certain spiritual belief that was running rampant in China. They had 100 million people that were practicing this, and the government became scared of that. They became worried that they were going to lose power to the spiritual practice, which is a very peaceful practice. And this is the thing that's really interesting to me as I dove into this, and you've explained these things to me. The people who practice this spiritual practice called Falun Dafa, right?
Yeah.
They believe that if someone does something bad to them, that it's actually good for their soul, so to speak. It's good for their karma. So if I punch you, then that's me giving you my good karma, and you giving me your bad karma. So they chose a group of people who actually believe that it's good for them if bad things are happening to them, essentially, and as an underlying concept of their karmic beliefs. So they pick the perfect people to do this to, so to speak. Because if you were going to imprison a people, this is the one to do it to. And they're also not very vocal, about the things that are happening to them. So this has been going on for how long now?
For 16 years now.
16 years.
Yes.
This has been happening. I've never heard of this until I heard of it from you. Never seen anything on the news, even though there's been, as you said, the European Parliament has acknowledged this, passed a resolution. There's been multiple things in the Congress, United States Congress.
Yeah.
In fact, there's something going right now, isn't
it? Yeah, House Resolution 343 they just put that, they introduced it by 9, it was co-sponsored by 9 congressmen. And our goal is to get that finally passed and get the Chinese government to stop this act. But what's going on is the people that are targeted, actually they're practicing this spiritual practice called Falun Gong, Falun Dafa, as you mentioned. They believe in living by truth, compassion, and forbearance, and putting other people above themselves all the time. So if anybody does any harm to you, you just forbear it and you let it go, and you have compassion for the people. And it's really sad that this is happening to these people, that are really good people. At the same time, a lot of times those labor camps, there is news that comes out of them that they have to change the prison guards, because when the prison guards are torturing these people and see how compassionate they are to them, they realize that they're doing something wrong. So every few years or every few months, the Chinese government has to change all these people that are torturing the Falun Gong practitioners. So
which is so interesting, because it's a communist country that is performing this horrific act, literally a modern day Holocaust, for money. They're doing it for money.
Absolutely. And they're estimated that they're making $1 billion a year from this practice. The hospitals are making money from it. The military is making money from it. All of these people, they're middlemen that are making money from this practice. And a lot of these people that are within the system, the act that they're doing, some of these surgeons that, going in and doing the surgery on killing someone for making money and taking their body parts and putting it in somebody else. It's just, the act is such a evil act for making money that it shows where the communism in China has gone.
Yeah, great stuff. CMAC, thank you so much for coming here today and shedding light on this issue. You can do your part just by simply going and liking the Facebook page on the link below right here. It's facebook.com/helpstoporganharvesting. And if there's anything that you can do to help, I know it's not a thing of donations, we're not asking for money, nothing like that, but if you can just like this page and share it with your friends, we want to get the word out. We want people to know what's really happening. I think everyone on this planet deserves a fair shot at life, and these people are not getting that. Appreciate you doing that for us. Thank you for watching Smarter San Diego TV. Stick around. Our next guests are here to tell us about the new Santee. So to get the Santee scoop, please welcome Daniel Buksa and Dustin Trotter. How you guys doing?
Pretty good.
Life is treating me extremely well.
Well, it's great to have you here. Really appreciate you guys coming in to tell us what's going on in Santee, because I think a lot of people, San Diego's a big area, and I think a lot of people maybe have thought something about Santee, or maybe they were there 5-6 years ago, but they don't know what's going on right now. And Dustin, by the way, you're also running for city council out there, right?
I am, in 2016. We're running a general election coming up,
2016, so Trotter 2016, hashtag it.
There you go.
Why did you want to do that, by the way?
I love the town of Santee. I lived there over half of my life. I lived in East County all my life. Lived in San Diego. My wife's born there. My kids are there. They go to school there. It's just a city that we love, and we want to make sure that we keep, a lot of these positive things that are happening in Santee continue to see happening. And it's kind of the old cliche, if you don't say something about it or do something about it, then you got nothing to complain about.
You can't complain about anything,
Yep.
right? And you have your business in Santee too, right?
Yes, my personal residence is there, obviously, and also my business there too. I got a construction company, TDT Construction.
Yeah, so what does TDT Construction do?
We're a finished carpentry company and a general building contractor. So finished carpentry would be like your doors and trim, your windows, cabinets, everything wood inside of a house, kind of think about. And then on the construction side, we actually build new single-family homes now.
And in fact, you've been not just doing construction and things like that, but you've been doing investing. You guys have been flipping homes over the past 5-6 years and seen a lot of growth out there, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Santee, it's grown tremendously. When they put the trolley in back in '98 in Santee, it used to be just ball fields there. And right where that trolley ended, and they got rid of the ball fields, and it was a dirt lot for about 5 years, and then they put in the town center.
Yeah,
the town center now is just top-notch. Everybody comes there from Lakeside, La Mesa, El Cajon, it come and shop in Santee for multiple reasons. The stores we have, the restaurants, and also the tax base is still 8%, which is the lowest in the county still.
Hey, counting pennies, man. Did you want to say something, Dan?
I was just saying, for us old school Santee people, we've seen a lot of growth over the years. Me being born and raised 39 years in Santee, I remember times where the radio station KCBQ, and there was a lot of dirt fields. We might have had 2 grocery stores in all Santee, and like Dustin was saying, we've seen so much growth. It's like we have every cool restaurant you could think of. We have one of the best barbecue spots with Phil's Barbecue and OG's Pizza, Olive Garden, Buffalo Wild Wings, Wings and Things. I mean, people actually come to Santee now to hang out. It's the new fun spot.
Is this the new Mission Valley, it sounds
it
like?
Really is.
Well, a little different because Mission Valley, has a small land mass. It's very high density, very tight and stuff. Santee has a lot of room for expandable growth, much more single families. 72% of our households are family households. So that means that within 70% of our households, they have at least a child in our households. So it's really cool.
Can you still buy a property like with an acre of land in Santee? Is that something that can be done?
You got to get out to you got to get out to the outskirts, the hills, so to say, and there are some 1 acre parcels, but it's far and few in between nowadays.
Okay, but they still exist somewhere out there.
Yeah, they do.
That's at one point someone told me that buy a house with an acre of land because, they're not making any more of those. It just can't be done, right? Because while Santee has 25% that can still be developed, the rest of the county, not quite like that.
Not so much. I mean, the average, city of San Diego, their average parcels, they're allowing 6,000 square foot parcels nowadays.
Well, I feel like I should ask you guys this question since I got you both here. Who knows if I'll ever have you both in the same place again. Because you've done a lot of home construction. You've done a lot of home flips. Daniel, you've been selling real estate like crazy all over San Diego. What advice can you guys both give, we'll start with you, Dustin, on how people can sell their home for top dollar in a market like this?
Well, in a market like this, it's actually pretty easy. So, we're back to the times in the mid-2000s where you're almost putting a sign out in the yard and you're getting some offers.
Is it that easy,
quick.
Daniel?
I would say average days on market. In Santee alone, last year we were 39 days on market was our average. This year to date, we're at 29 days. So inventory's moving. Properties are selling a lot easier. But we're also seeing more traditional sales. We might have seen more of the investor sales maybe a year ago, where now it's traditional people trying to sell their homes for top dollar. So I see a lot of people in the initial consultations having to give them good advice on bathrooms, kitchens. Those are always my big things, is what are the things that are going to help you sell your home for top dollar. So
I've also heard that a garage door is a good investment. Getting a new garage door can make the curb appeal,
Definitely on the curb appeal side, a front door, another quick example, that's the first thing somebody sees is the garage door and the front door to the home. So making it inviting with the landscaping or that fresh coat of paint on the outside. I don't think you quite get the return on investment with the garage door, but you definitely create some more curb appeal and things like that.
Very cool. And Daniel, you also have just opened an office in Santee, right?
We are. Very exciting. We're going to be opening up probably in about 6 weeks right now. And Dustin's going to be helping us with the remodel of our place.
Huh, cool. How's that work out?
For us, we're real excited. We're looking at it as really a community hub for everyone in Santee. We want the local businesses and the schools and to be able to have a lot of events. One of the things we're really excited about is there's a big 3,000 square foot deck on the back of our building where we could host events and do a lot of neat things for the community. So,
Daniel, real quick, we're almost out of time, but I think people should know what separates you from other realtors out there. And by the way, I should also say that Daniel is known in the industry as the nicest guy in real estate, and I think that's a title that he's earned. But tell us what's different about you from everyone else.
I would say a lot of what we do, 90% of what I do has nothing to do with real estate. We had talked about decluttering homes. We're at people's houses doing yard work. I've actually done 4 garage sales this year, decluttering people's homes, throwing out my signs in neighborhoods. And one of the things I like to pride myself, we did 39 moves last year. You buy a home from us, we're going to actually move you.
That's
and
crazy,
we show up on moving day. Sometimes we're hiring movers if it's a very big move, but just being involved in the client's lives. And a lot of that is really missing in the real estate is the personal touch. People feel like you're just there for the real estate sale, but that's where I laugh. 90% of what we do has nothing to do with real estate. And it really is true, is just looking out for the buyer's best interests and really looking out for them goes a long ways.
Great stuff, and it's true. And I've seen the pictures on Facebook, you moving people
all
the
true
time. So I know it's really happening. Great stuff. Thank you both for being here. Really appreciate your time.
Thank you, Derek.
Thank you, Derek.
Thanks, Dustin and Daniel. All right, stick around for more Smarter San Diego TV, where we guarantee to make you smarter than everyone else, commercial free. next guest is the best golfer I know, but he's not here to talk about golf today. He's here to talk about the new renovated La Mesa. John Lieber is here. John, how you doing, sir?
I'm doing great, Derek. Thanks for having me.
Great to have you. You know, I can't help but talk about you as a golfer whenever I have you on one of my shows because I've never seen anyone light up a course like you did the last time we played. But we're here today to talk about La Mesa and the fact that it's changed dramatically. One of the cool things I think about the show that we're doing is we're telling people what's going on in some of these places you haven't visited maybe in a long time in San Diego County. I used to live in La Mesa, and I go back every 3 or 4 years just to check it out, reminisce a little bit. My daughter was born there, and it's changed so much. What is going on, man?
Well, you know, over the last, really, we've had better businesses coming in over the last couple of years. You see better restaurants, you see wine bars. They just opened 2 new craft breweries in La Mesa. And so I don't know if a lot of it had to do with the downtown renovation or not, but they've been doing a multi-million-dollar renovation project, which is all new landscaping, sidewalks, streets, infrastructure, all this stuff right in the downtown La Mesa area. So it's really attracted a younger kind of trendy, you know, group into the area. And you know, for business, for real estate, it's been fantastic because that's going to just continue to drive prices up. But it's just great to see a real facelift and to see a different crowd kind of moving into La Mesa.
Yeah, it used to be all antique shops, right?
Down, we were just
Mesa Boulevard.
I think over half the businesses were antique shops, you know, 10 years ago when you were. So you must have really been into antiquing back in the day in 06.
Choice. There was nothing. I went out for something to eat. I came home with antiques.
So, you know, it's great. I mean, we've got great restaurants there. The Cone Restaurant Group, who has fantastic restaurants all over the county. In Hawaii, they've got Bobo and La Mesa.
So you always had that good shopping, you know. And the community area, the homes are a little bit older, so they have kind of this really cool feel to them. I lived in a home there. It was so cool. I've never had a layout like that before. A 3-story layout like the way that it was so neat. So a lot of unique homes, too.
Yeah, totally.
How's the real estate market reacting to all of this money that's being poured into the Mesa area?
Well, I mean, you can imagine that prices have gone up. And really, prices have gone up in most areas over the last few years. But I've just seen so much more popularity in the downtown La Mesa area itself. You just don't see many homes for sale there anymore that stay on the market. I mean, when I last looked, I think there were 6 homes within the village area.
Wow.
And so, I mean, there's other, you know, I'll talk about Mount Helix a little bit too, but within the village, there's just so much demand because it is kind of like a North Park or South Park now.
Right.
And so you're getting a different group of people. You're getting younger families moving in there.
Well, what's happening, I think, is that the border of what's considered to be East County or East San Diego has changed. It's moved a lot. Mm-hmm. I mean, La Mesa, people will still call it East County, but it's really not. I mean, if you think about how quickly you can get to downtown, for example, by taking the 94, or how quickly you get right into Mission Valley by taking the 8.
Yeah.
You know, you can get central or downtown very, very quickly from La Mesa. So I think what's happening is, as the expansion, you know, the populous expansion is happening, La Mesa is becoming more central, more desirable, mm-hmm. more money's coming in there, and all those things are just adding up to a pretty hot real estate market.
Yeah, totally. It's interesting because I always considered, you know, La Mesa borders San Carlos, and so I always thought East County more or less starts at the La Mesa zip code. You know, that's the dividing line, but. Right. But really, when you think about getting downtown, the 94 is the quickest route downtown from there, and La Mesa is quicker than San Carlos and Del Cerro and some of those areas. Definitely. So, I mean, it is a great central location.
What does the future look like for the Mesa real estate, John?
You know, I think just for those reasons I mentioned, I think it's going to be really strong going forward, because you've got something that's attracting younger buyers, and I think that's the key.
That's the key.
When you've got a community that's getting older and there's really nothing drawing younger people in, you know, where's it going to go? But you've got a great school system, you've got all these businesses that are bringing younger people in. We've seen the home prices rising. You know, just a little bit about the village itself. It's so unique, and I think that's why it's another reason why it's bringing different people in is that you don't have a development that was done at any one time within the village. You have homes from the early 1900s there that are historically significant, like the one you said you lived in.
Yep.
You've got 1930s Spanish style homes. You've got mid-century moderns that were designed by prominent architects at the time. And then you've got new development too. So it's really an interesting mix of homes, and there's just a lot of variety for really everybody.
Dynamic.
Yeah.
Totally dynamic as far as what you're going to get from one place to the next. Yeah, I'll never forget where I lived on 3rd Street. It was a really cool.
Oh, you were 3rd?
Yeah, on 3rd Street, yeah.
I used to be, right when I got married, I was on Cypress.
Yeah.
Which is just on the other side of La Mesa Boulevard.
We were probably neighbors.
I know, probably.
Good thing we didn't know each other back then, because you'd have really whipped my butt on the golf course.
Oh, I know, totally.
You've also got a property, a hot listing that's going to be coming on the market soon in La Mesa, right?
It's actually San Carlos.
San Carlos.
So next zip code over, 7728 Lake Tahoe Avenue. And I'm glad you brought up the golf here, because this is one of the few golf course homes available in the area. It sits on Mission Trails Golf Course, which I don't know if you were playing that back in the day when you were.
Yeah.
So Mission Trails is an older course.
Short.
San Carlos is an older community.
Yeah.
But it was never set up as a golf course community, so you don't have homes lining every fairway like you see in a lot of the newer developments. So it's made the golf course front homes a lot more desirable, and they sell at more of a premium. So 7728 Lake Tahoe Avenue, it's a 4-bedroom, 3-bath, 2,500 square foot single level home. And the cool thing about it is it's on the golf course, but it's elevated off the golf course enough to where you don't have people looking for their golf ball in your backyard and looking in your,
you're not in any danger.
Yeah. So, and you're also elevated enough that you don't just look at one hole, you look at the entire golf course itself, which is sweet. So you're looking east over Cowles Mountain, the golf course. You're right there. You've got a little gate in your backyard, so you could sneak out and,
grab a hole or two.
Yeah, grab a hole or two at dark or something like that. Price is going to be low 800s on that one. And I think for anyone that likes golf, that likes the view, and they're looking in that area, I mean, it's just going to be one of the best properties available.
Yeah, it's a refurbished property, right? Or it's a completely renovated property.
And hopefully some of the pictures I sent in will show up, because I've got some of the befores. We don't have any of the afters yet because it's not quite done. I've never seen a lime green kitchen before, but it's awesome. I mean, lime green, we had a velvet wallpaper in one of the bathrooms. I mean, it's a beauty, but it's going to be brand new. We actually had 2 offers on it before we closed escrow to buy it.
Wow!
For significantly more. I'd never had that happen before. So
wow, hot property.
I know it's going to go quick. So if anyone wants to take a private tour of it, I can get them in between construction times. And
absolutely, you can see that property right now just by calling John Lieber at the number below. And if you're looking in the San Carlos, La Mesa area for real estate, John's a good person that you can call to get an idea on what the market is going to yield there, what you'll be able to buy for your money. You can trust him with that for sure. John, really appreciate your time. Thanks for being here, man.
Thank you.
Great to have you. Stick around for more Smarter San Diego TV, where we guarantee to make you smarter than everyone else, all commercial free. We'll be right back.
All right, JJ, it's time for the final segment. Before we do Listing of the Week, before we do For the Win, to find out who's going to be our real estate debate champion today, let's check in with you and see what the scores look like.
Okay, this is a tough race here. We have Rob and Brian tied at 15 points. Elizabeth is 1 point behind at 14 points. There's only 10 points to give in this last segment, so you got to really bring it.
Yeah, so the way that Listing of the Week works is, there's 10 total points. They have to be divvied up a total of 10, no more, no less. Based on how you pitch your properties, and essentially sell the home. Sell it to me, sell it to JJ, sell it to anyone who's watching this show. So Elizabeth, you will actually be going first on Listing of the Week.
All right. I'm going to tell you why the area is great, and then I'm going to tell you why the property is great. My Listing of the Week is 1758 Cape May Place in Old Carlsbad. Carlsbad is so unique. It's one of the most unique cities in the world because it has the ocean, multiple lagoons, it has Legoland, the flower fields, and coming soon, North 40, which is a 40-acre urban farm-to-table experience that is going to be bananas, and it will also have breweries. Now, that's great about Carlsbad. Now, let me tell you what's great about this property. It is a 5-minute walk to the lagoon, and it is less than a mile from the beach in Old Carlsbad. It is really great for an extended family, for a work-at-home couple, because there's 2 downstairs bedrooms that could be used as an office, or it would be really attractive as a vacation rental because of its proximity to the water and the amount of bedrooms it has. It's a 6-bedroom house, 2 bedrooms downstairs, 4 bedrooms upstairs, 3 baths, 4 showers, outdoor shower, 3-car garage, 3-car driveway. It's got an extra slab for a man cave or a she shed. Every single room has a patio except one. Every single room in the house, every living room, every bedroom, every office. It's 0.27 acres with fruit-bearing trees and edibles that you can barbecue. Right next to it is a rosemary. You could literally pick from the rosemary bush and put it right onto the barbecue. It's Cape Cod style. It's in a cul-de-sac. It's also for the families that would want to be there long-term. It is walking distance to the elementary, middle, and high schools. It's an open high school district. They can go to the STEM school or Carlsbad High. It's got ocean views from the slope. It comes with a swing set and a tree swing for families with children. It has lovely flowers that are drought tolerant and attract lots of butterflies, so the butterflies fly around the yard all day. They have Halloween parties in the cul-de-sac. There's no HOA or Melrose. Tons of natural light, and it's got a brand new kitchen with transferable warranty on all of the appliances. If you would like to schedule a private showing, you can contact me at info@Story Estates, www.storyestates.com, or give me a call at 619-742-3979.
And what was the price range on this one?
That one is $895 to $949.
Wow. That sounds like a really good deal. I mean, 6 bedrooms, all the decks, the quarter
Extremely
acre.
rare.
Wow, that is crazy. I was totally expecting you to say well over $1 million. I was like, okay, when is it coming?
Yeah.
Okay, so 2.75 to 3.249 or something like that. That's a great deal. Wow, what a property. Great listing.
Thank you.
Fantastic stuff from Elizabeth Story, storyestates.com. Also, our recommended agent for Smarter San Diego in the Carmel Valley area. Elizabeth, looking forward to doing TV with you in the near future.
Thank you.
Fantastic stuff. Great job on the debate today. Good luck as we still have the final tally that we're waiting for. Rob Cunningham. It's now time for your listing of the week.
I actually just put a great home on the market, and one of the great things about this property is the fact that it has views literally from every room in the house with the exception of one bedroom. It also has a balcony coming off of virtually every room in the house. It was recently redone, floor to ceiling, entirely done throughout, kitchens, bathrooms. It's a 3-bedroom, 3-bath property, just under 2,000 square feet on the top of Dictionary Hill. It has a large backyard with a raised deck, great for barbecuing on a quiet street. It is priced under the average sales price in the county, so it's affordable for many, many, many people. We're only asking $449 for the home, actually. And like I said, the views that you can see out to the ocean, the downtown skyline.
For $449?
Yeah, I know, right?
What?
I know. The seller, get this, the seller's motivated. We're looking to make moves. We're looking to get someone in there that's really actually going to enjoy their life there, and it's gonna be a good home for somebody.
That's an incredible situation, Rob. How could someone find out more about the property or get in touch with you?
They can give me a call on my cell phone at 619-804-5972. Again, that's 619-804-5972.
Awesome. Great listing from Rob Cunningham. Mr. DeVore, last but not least,
yes,
of course, you got a lot that you're coming behind here.
I know
mean,
that.
This is going to be tough to live up to.
I know that.
Let's hear about your listing of the week.
Well, I think that you have lots of different listeners and lots of different property types that they're interested in.
Mm-hmm.
For any of your listeners who are interested in a home in Carlsbad in a master plan community, they need to pay attention to this. And if they happen to be an escrow on a property right now, they need to maybe think twice about closing on that property and coming to mind.
Wow.
So Elizabeth did a great job of selling Carlsbad. One of the things you didn't mention that's coming to that new shopping center is Nordstrom.
Yes.
It's coming.
Well, you got to throw that in there.
Got to throw it in there.
That's a big draw.
So Carlsbad, as we know, is a very desirable place. Legoland, flower fields, etc. And one of the more desirable communities is Rancho Carrillo, which is an area that I do a lot of business in. Very desirable for the schools, top-rated 10 schools, lots of shopping, lots of restaurants, close to everything. So it's a very desirable place. So as of yesterday, in the 92009 zip code, there were 227 detached properties for sale. Of those, if you go to 4 bedrooms only, 4 bedrooms or more, there's only 81. Then if you narrow it down to the highly desirable cul-de-sac location, there are 18. And if you want it to be under $750,000, there are only 4. Okay? And if you want to be in Rancho Carrillo, there's only 1. And I've got it. The address is 6075 Paseo Pradera. It's a 4-bedroom, 2.5-bath, just under 2,300 square feet. The home has been completely remodeled, and the home is only 14 years old. So everything was already in good shape, and they completely gutted the kitchen. Granite countertops with full backsplash, stainless steel appliances, elegant travertine floors throughout downstairs, upstairs, full wood throughout every single bedroom and hallway. It's got an amazing backyard, probably one of the larger yards in the community, well manicured, but it's relatively drought resistant, so people aren't going to spend a fortune on watering their backyard. And it's got gorgeous views from the backyard as well as from upstairs for $749,000.
$749 for this property in Rancho Carrillo. And how many bedrooms and bathrooms?
It's 4 bedrooms.
4 bedrooms.
2.5 baths, 2-car garage, and it's on a cul-de-sac that has about 8 homes on it. So it's a very quiet cul-de-sac. It's a great location. There's always people out there playing. So if you're looking for a bedroom community, you have kids and you want to move into an area like this, this is the only one you can get.
You got the only one.
I got the only one.
He's got the only one for sale. And so how would people find out more about that property or get in touch with you for a show?
So they can go to my website at www.thedivores.com, DEVORES. They can also call me for a private showing. My number is 760-908-3838. Or send me an email, info@thedivores.com.
Okay, fantastic stuff. Wow, what a great debate. JJ, you now are in the hot seat. The hottest of hot seats.
You know, I'm glad to be in the seat, and that last segment I think was an easy one for me. The disappointment of today is no one threw a challenge flag.
True.
Which, they're kind of sitting here. They're lonely. They really need to be picked up. Exactly. I understand why. Everybody gets 2 points for their unused challenge flags.
So it's a wash.
It's a wash. Elizabeth, to me, ran away with the listing of the week. I mean, I want to buy that property with that pitch. She gained some points there with a total of 19. She is the winner. Brian DeVore, one behind at 18. Rob Cunningham, 17.
Elizabeth Story?
8-time champion now.
Woo!
Wow, Elizabeth, you win. It was a great pitch. It's true. Well done.
Thank you.
All right, so tell me, before we cut out, tell me how sweet does it taste to be the first 8-time champion?
It tastes really good. Almost as good as the margaritas I'll be having this afternoon.
Just say you've had a stressful morning.
I have had a very stressful.
She needs it.
So this has got to be a nice payoff. The equilibrium of life working itself out here just perfectly right in front of your eyes. Congratulations.
Thank
you did a fantastic job. And another great real estate debate. Find out more at therealestatetedebate.com. We'll see you there. Hey, great show, guys. That's a wrap. Jade, what's your schedule look like? Do you mind breaking down the set?
Not today, Derek. I'd love to, but there's waves out there. I gotta go. Angela? Nikki?
Yeah, I gotta go beat traffic. And I think Nikki's making something up there.
Look at this. We did this. We did all of this.